just had a most amazing sighting. We'll get back to this sighting and how it happened, because it wasn't pure luck and something you should definitely know if you're getting yourself into wildlife photography or if you're going on your very first photographic safari in Africa. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Daniel Bryn. I'm a casual photographer and relaxed adventurer, and I've been traveling to Africa for 11 years in a row. And in this video, I'll share my best tips on how to get good wildlife photos from my experience. It's not about the settings of your camera, but we'll cover that as well after the important stuff. And I have some bonus tips for you right at the end, especially bonus tip number 2 was a real eye-opener for me. So definitely stick around just for that. You can have your camera set up perfectly with all the settings, but if you don't know the who, when and where about the animals, you'll miss the shot and just get loads of animal asses on your memory card. And we don't want that. So let's go through what I consider to be the very basics of wildlife photography before you even touch a camera. That will get you miles ahead of anybody that hasn't done these things. Tip number 1 is to educate yourself on animal behavior. You can learn a lot from books. I have a few that I recommend. It's called Mammals and Beat About the Bush. The latter being where you can learn about why certain animals behave in a certain way. For example, elephants. I have a lot of respect for elephants. You definitely want to know if you've pissed off an elephant or not. We have had a few elephant charges that has been avoided from disaster just because I know the signs or what to look for if an elephant is angry or just curious. So Beat About the Bush, great book. Tip number 2 from another room here in this awesome house is to get up early before the sun. If you're only waking up when it's light, you are missing the best light of the day, in my opinion. And this is also when the cats are more active. You can find them on kills, you can find them walking on the road, and everybody wants to see lions. So most parks here in Southern Africa, they open the gates at 5:30 or 6, depending on the time of year. And then you should definitely be one of the first cars waiting for the gates to open. That is my number 1 tip, to be quite honest with you, because you have to find where the action is and you have a better chance when you get up early in the morning. So here, me and my girlfriend, we always get up at around 4:30 and 5. We have our morning coffee and we are ready at the gate at 6 o'clock or 5:30, depending on when it opens and what park it is. So many cool rooms in this house that I can't even begin to describe it. But the next one is to get a good pair of binoculars that aren't too big to use for scouting. Mine are from Brown. They're 8x42, not too big. They live on the dashboard, so they're always ready whenever I see something, so I can scout the game and try and predict their behavior, where they will move, so I can get the best shot possible. So if you're self-driving like we are, I would suggest investing in a guided safari. You can find so many activities in the Kruger Park where you can go on morning drives, afternoon drives, even night drives. We've done night drive, and we also have done a walking safari that was a very cool experience. The cool thing about doing these organized safaris is that you get to chat with the guide. So if you're new in an area, you can have a guided safari night or whatever, and you can ask the guides where there is more likeliness to find the animals that you want. So if you are a keen birder that wants to see bird, you can ask the guides where you can find the best bird life. Same goes with the predators, where the last sightings have been, and get a lot of information from those guides. And you also will learn a lot from the guides that makes you appreciate being in the bush even more. So definitely do that. Invest in a guided safari. Then you should look at animal behavior and try to predict how the animals will move to get that front shot, because that is the shot we want. That's how I got this, by predicting animal behavior. Now this also comes with experience, but if you go on a guided safari, you have the guides to figure out that for you and basically try to figure out where you can get the best shot and positioning the car accordingly. If you're on a self-drive adventure like we are, that is an amazing experience in itself. You have to do your self-education and learn about animal behaviors from books or YouTube or wherever. Ref to the first tip. Be patient and expect the unexpected. You can't expect lions, leopards, rhinos or whatever to dance in front of the car and pose perfectly for photos. That's just not how it works. To give you some realistic expectations, it takes time, it takes patience, it takes practice, but with your self-education or help from a guide, that will get you a long way. So this sighting happened because of patience. We knew the lionesses were there, and when all the cars had left, we had a whole show to ourselves for 20 minutes in perfect light. And that was truly an amazing experience. So what to realistically expect on a safari trip is a topic for another video. You can let me know down in the comments if you would like me to make such a video on what to realistically expect. If you find a lion, an elephant, or even a leopard, there is absolutely no guarantee for a good photo opportunity. Nobody said wildlife photography is easy, but in this case, please do yourself a favor of enjoying the moment, put the camera away for a little bit and just appreciate the fact that you are in the presence of a wild animal. We had an amazing leopard sighting. We didn't see it clearly at first, and then it was teasing us by lying behind a small mound of dirt or an anthill. I can't remember exactly. Just put away the camera, enjoy the show a little bit, and here is the thing that you should be ready for. It moved. So did we. We predicted the animal's behavior and went on the other side of where we thought it would go. Sure enough, there it was. I think this is my absolute favorite photo from the trip so far, and this photo is definitely going on the wall back home. Now you should have a little bit better idea and understanding of what you can do to get you started and what to expect when on safari. Let's talk a little bit about camera settings. I just want to keep it simple and share what I set my cameras to, so I can be ready in a moment's notice without fiddling about with all the buttons that most fancy schwancy cameras has these days. Because you will for sure miss the shot and get a bunch of animals' asses if you mess around too much trying to figure out the perfect settings on your camera and you're not prepared. I set my camera up with an ISO of between 3200 and 6400 in aperture priority. These high ISOs will ensure that I have high enough shutter speed to be able to freeze the motion, and that's exactly what we want to do. I know people say that, oh, you should always have the lowest possible ISO, and that is true if you can quickly adjust it, but I would rather have a sharp image that is a little bit noisy in the background, because with AI in Lightroom these days, it's so easy to fix. Just take a look at this photo. That's taken with an ISO on 6400. And here's the photo denoised in Lightroom's AI denoise. Fantastic. Then I have my camera set to continuous autofocus on tracking animals. So on the XH2S, I have custom setting number 1 for tracking birds, and then I have custom setting number 2 for tracking animals. So I can quickly switch between the two, which makes my life so much easier. I don't have to worry about too many buttons and dials, and it works like a charm. The continuous autofocus on the Fujifilm system nowadays is just fantastic, and I'm really impressed. And the only thing that I really adjust is on the exposure compensation dial. That's it. I am always ready to take the shot when opportunity presents itself. I'll sit here for the bonus tips and just go through them really quickly. And the first one is to stop the car, because chances are, if you're doing self-drive safari, you might be leaning your lens on the car window or something like that, and that results in tiny vibrations that eventually leads up to you not getting a super sharp image. There's a huge difference when you remember to turn off the car, so please do yourself that favor and you can thank me later. Then we have to say something about shutter speed. The rule of thumb is to double the shutter speed compared to your focal range. So when I'm shooting with my 150 to 600 millimeter Fuji lens at 600, I should have a shutter speed of 1/1200th of a second. That's very difficult for me to say. Remember, I'm Norwegian after all. But you can get away with lower shutter speeds if you're holding your camera really steady, or if the animal is not moving, it's stationary. But that really depends on your ability to hold that camera steady, how slow or fast the animal moves, and how good your image stabilization is. So for the Fuji cameras that I use, this is excellent, and I can get away with slower shutter speeds and still get a nice, clear, sharp image. Oh yeah, like this one. Bonus tip number 3 would be to know your camera. I've met plenty of people on safari. They have just bought their super fancy, very expensive gear, and they're sitting on the back of the safari car or in the front seat when they are doing their self-drive safari and just fiddling around with buttons. Like, they don't know what the different buttons are, they haven't set up the camera properly. So please do yourself a favor, get to familiarize yourself with your camera, your brand new camera. After all, this video is aimed at beginners. So chances are you have just got yourself your very first camera and can't wait to take it for a spin in the bush or wherever to do wildlife photography. The easiest thing and the best thing you can do for yourself is to go out in a park or wherever. Maybe you have like a bird hide where you can sit and watch for birds, and try to get those nice sharp images of the local wildlife. Just play around with the camera, know what buttons does what and the dials and everything like that, so you are prepared. Tip number 4. This has nothing to do with wildlife, but it's something I really wish I did when I first started traveling to Africa, and especially when I started doing wildlife photography and more photography in general, is to capture more behind the scenes photos of the people you meet, your guide, your significant other, nice moody shots when you're sitting by the fire or your self-drive safari vehicle or whatever. Just capture those good shots for your own memory. It's not always about getting those excellent wildlife shots that might end up hanging in your living room. There's so much more to it, and those memories are worth taking care of by capturing them with your camera. It's the person that takes the good photo. The camera is just the in-between tool that enables the photographer to capture that unique moment. So think about that these are just beginner tips, and your fancy schwancy camera has less to do with taking great photos than you might think. And I get very frustrated when I show people a photo that I think is quite good, that I took myself, and they say, "Wow, your camera takes really good photos." I don't know what to say to that. It's yeah, but I hope you got something from this video. If you did, you might want to check out this one after, also about Africa. And with that, I shall say bye-bye. Thanks for watching, and I hope you do subscribe to my channel. That would be awesome. Leave a thumbs up. Hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.